is the Next Level Loan Officers podcast. To learn more about Next Level Loan Officers, go to becomnl.com.
What's up, everybody? It's Shane Kidwell, one of the founders here at Next Level Loan Officers, on another edition of the Next Level Loan Officers podcast. Hey, we have over 125 episodes, and we want to thank all of you who have listened in for making us the top mortgage-specific podcast on iTunes. We are joined today by one of my buds, and now we have to get our explicit lyrics like warning out of the way early. But everybody, Mike Cuevas, the real estate marketing dude, the mortgage dude, the video dude, the branding dude. He's a lot of dudes. But Mike, what's happening?
Hey Shane, how are you? And thanks for having us. I will tone it down today. I won't swear once. Let's see if we can do it.
I mean, we'll try. We'll see how it goes, right? We'll see how it goes. Well, listen, if while we're listening to this podcast, if you hear my system fry out, I spilled about a 16-ounce coffee on my setup here right before Mike and I jumped on. That's just the way it goes, right?
Yep, the show must go on, Shane. You got to go. You can't stall and come up with an excuse. And honestly, that's what people do with video all the time. They're like, hey, I don't know. I don't like the way I look today. Or, hey, I don't like the way my hair is, or all that. It's like, dude, you wake up every day the same way. You look the same. You talk the same. Don't let this little video thing
and nobody cares how you look.
It's true.
Right?
That's right.
Well, listen, let's jump into it. So, I mean, we're rounding out 2021. We're moving into a new year, new market. You and I have been talking about branding being, like brand relevancy and really understanding in the mortgage world. And I've been saying this now for over a year. I'm a marketer that just happens to do loans.
Yep.
And I think if we all think about our business different, we'll be able to grow, because the age of being really good at a 1003 and giving great communication on the loan and closing on time, like that no longer is a differentiator. That's average. Nope. It's what everybody does, right?
Well, you expect it. Here's the worst thing a loan officer can tell a realtor. This is by far the worst thing you could ever tell a realtor. And I'm just like, get the fuck out of here.
You just swore. So we're 2 minutes into the podcast.
Here's what it is.
Broke your agreement.
This is serious stuff. Don't worry. I'm going to treat your clients with the best service and care ever. If you have to freaking tell me that, you already lost the game, because I expect that. You like who signs up for a service provider with one of the biggest investments ever and expect to get shitty service and bad care? That's no longer a unique selling proposition. With lenders, everyone's selling the same thing, even all more so than realtors. Like let's just look at what we're really offering. People all are repackaging and selling the exact same products or services. If you're a lender, that's going to be, hey, I got an FHA loan, I got a VA loan, I got a conventional loan. Great. If you're a real estate agent, hey, I got one listing option for you. It's a 5 or 6%. We're going to host an open house and put the signing yard and just wait and pray for a buyer to come. So what really makes somebody hire you? It's not the fact that you're licensed to originate loans or sell real estate. It's what the hell you can do with that license, and more importantly, how you do it. Ultimately, what people want is trust. They want to feel comfortable in the situation. This is a big deal. They're buying a house. We take it for granted being in the space and seeing it on a daily basis. But for most people buying their first house, like, they're losing sleep at night. They're stressing out. They're worried about where their kid's school is going to be. And yet here we are talking about clear to close and interest rates and APR. With a APR and a tone deaf, to the situation. So ultimately, I think people hiring you, well, I know they hire you for how you do it, not what you do. And that's where your personal brand really comes in. And I think it's the only differentiator, whether you're in mortgage or real estate, that any of us will have into the future. I think personal brand is the future of our business. And for all the robots out there that don't have one, you're going to be out of business.
So point number one already, gang, if you're listening in, and Mike kind of indirectly touched on this, we in the business assume that our client thinks and experiences the way we do. We don't assume that they've never done this before. We just assume that when we say APR, they know what that means. When we say LOE, LOX, DTI, we don't understand that this is a foreign topic for the average person that they do once every 7 to 10 years. If I dropped you in mainland China and you didn't speak Mandarin, you would have no clue how to operate in that space. It's no different in the mortgage industry. Think of all of the nomenclature we use in the lending space that makes no sense to the average person. So
crazy. Realtors do it too.
They all do it.
Nuts.
And it's like, guys, you got to talk to people like it's everything is a big green button, push button, like make it simple, make it easy to explain. And I think kind of 1B is educating people in the way and on the platform that works best for them, not what works best for you. You know, you hear lenders all the time who say, you know, I'm just not into video. Well, we don't care what you're into. It's what your audience is into. You know, I'm not into, you know, getting my picture taken and being out there in the public. Well, then you're going to lose because that's where you're going to pick up market share. So,
or I'm not into social media. I don't do social media. I hear that all the time, especially from lenders. Most realtors are on social media, but it's surprising the amount of lenders like, you know what, I just don't do social media, Shane. I'm like, well, you're just not going to do referrals from social media then, man. I mean, we have to go where the business is, not the other way around.
Yes. And what they'll say is, I don't do fill in the blank because of, and then their personal belief. The reality is that what effective company has the CEO's personal belief branded out there for the public to see?
Southwest
I
Airlines.
Personally believe in eating meat and shooting guns, and I only advertise in a personal way through coffee appointments, and I don't use social media. You're going to lose. Like, in fact, you've already lost, right?
Yep.
So for those of you who are thinking to yourself, you know, Mike, Shane, like, man, I get it. I don't like social media. I need to do more of it. There's a couple ways that you can get more information on social media. At our Next Level Live events, and we have one in Dallas in December, I teach an entire class. It's about an hour and a half called Social You, and it's all about how to leverage Facebook organically to grow your business. I highly recommend. I mean, the price of admission is basically free. You make more off the first training than you'll pay for the time there, but I highly recommend coming to that event. We're going to talk more about, you know, branding with Mike, but Mike is a branding coach. This is what he does. So, you know, if I wanted to learn when I was courting my wife, if I knew that the way to get my wife to say yes to my proposal was to cook her a 5-star Michelin meal, don't you think I'd go find a chef to teach me how to cook? Doesn't mean I'm a good cook. It just means I want to go where my audience is. Yeah. That's the same thing with us. So Mike is going to give us an opportunity at the end here. If you'd like to know more about what Mike does, we're going to share a little bit about that. But Mike, let's get into best practices and kind of the things that, knowing what you know now, what would you have told the marketing dude, the Chicago real estate dude from 5 years ago that would be super impactful for somebody on this call?
I would have doubled down on content creation and all socials, just like we did in COVID. And when COVID first hit, people were scared shitless. They were like, oh my God, what's going to happen? Is the market going to fall? Is the rate's going to go up? What's going to happen? At that time, I was scared too, because I'm like, are our clients going to fire us? Is everyone going to just shut down? And we did lose a lot of business at that time because people were just scared. But for those who doubled down, what did people do for 3 or 4 months? They just all were glued to social media, right? So the people who actually increased ad spend, which we did, we started having some of our better months. And every single agent or lender I've seen that did the same thing crushed it. They've had some of the best years this year. And when you're building your personal brand, it's very simple, because everyone's like, where do you start? How do I say it? Branding is all about communication, period. It's how you communicate and how your message relates to other people. So in my world, I'm just a dude. Shane mentioned it, I was the Chicago real estate dude. Today, I'm the real estate marketing dude. I will be an insurance dude. Maybe I'll be a mortgage dude. Maybe I'll be this dude. Maybe I open up a restaurant, but it would probably be called Dude's Munchies, and we would serve food for people who smoke a lot of weed. The point being is that I know how to communicate in my most authentic state. And the best part about building your personal brand is that every single person has one. Shane does an excellent job at his brand, positioning himself as the blue collar mortgage guy, previous firefighter, and he's not scared to voice it. And it's because of that Shane attracts a lot of people. If Shane started communicating as a mortgage broker online, it'd be totally different, but I don't ever see Shane communicating as a mortgage broker. I see Shane communicating as a blue collar, family loving dude that is just good old middle of America. I mean, that's sort of how his brand to me comes off as. But because Shane's identified that and embraced it, he's not scared to sing it from the rooftops. The problem that lenders have is, if you don't know what your brand is or how your brand and your personal brand naturally communicates, it is impossible to build a personal brand because you don't know how to communicate. That'd be like me trying to build one of my kids' 500 Lego sets without the instructions. I would have no idea what the hell I'm doing. I need once you identify how to communicate, you just do it consistently. Consistent communication over time to the same audience is how you build a brand in any business. But if you're always talking about work, no one's going to listen to you. Shane, if you start talking about all your work with all your friends, like Shane just got back, he was telling me about this awesome Formula 500 thing went through in Austin.
Formula One.
So him and I saw you guys on Facebook going out there. And if all you did with you and your friends out there, and I know there's some of your business partners, but did you guys just sit around and talk about work the entire time?
No, I mean, we didn't sit around at all. We were out experiencing Formula One. And while we were experiencing Formula One, we were taking things from the experience and saying, man, how could we translate that to mortgage? Right.
Dope.
And I think this is the second point to make for all on the call. Your brand is who you are. Don't become a brand, just like embody who you already are. And so I think homework would be for you to sit down and ask yourself a few questions. Where do you hang out? What do you believe in? Like if are you like, we have a guy in Next Level who's phenomenal. He's like a beer brewing guy. And so he has the Mortgage Brew, and it's like his whole branding is built around the fact that he likes to brew beer.
Love it.
He didn't become an expert on brewing and then he didn't build a brand and then say, let's go be a brewer. He's like, I love brewing. I've been doing this already.
He brews mortgages.
Right? Might as well be my brand. So don't become something that you're not. Be authentic. And for me, I was the blue collar banker. And then like when I had my daughter 7 months ago, I started to transition to the mortgage dad. And there was a lot of strategic reasons why I did that. I don't want people to call me at 10 o'clock at night. I'm the mortgage dad. I got a baby. I put my baby out there a lot. So people know like that's priority number one. So you've got to be able to spend some time, sit down, get a notebook and start to pencil out the things that you like to do, the people you like to be around, the things in your life that would identify you as something unique. Everybody has something that makes them unique.
I have a really good one that you just reminded me of. So I'm working with one mortgage brokers out in Denver, and he needs a communication strategy. So the very first thing to develop your brand is really a communication strategy. So I get this guy on the phone. We do a deep dive. We're sitting here just like this. I'm staring at him, and I didn't see him on the demo, but this dude, he's a lumberjack. He's got a beard that comes out like this. He's just got a huge beard, and he's wearing a camouflage hat. And my job is to come up with a branding strategy for him. Well, I go, who do you serve? Who's your first time? Who do you really work with? He goes, well, I do a ton of FHA, first time buyers, and VA. I'm like, great. Well, what do those three people have in common? Well, affordability. They're getting into it. Price is very conscious for them. So we came up with a show called Beard Budget, all about the cost of living in and around his local area. And he's going to do it with brew tours. He's going to do brewery tours, but he could also just be like, hey, does this neighborhood fit the right budget? Well, let's find out. What people are going to remember about him is his beard. And naturally, because he's talking about it, like he has in his specific case, he has a trademark that you could build a whole brand around. I don't wear anything different. I don't have any glasses I wear all the time, but that's one way you could easily build a brand. Now I have another person that we started working with, and to give you another idea, she's got such an interesting story. Killer mortgage broker, does a ton of business, and she's a huge philanthropist. She has some personal stories of she almost ended up homeless back in the crash of 2008, single mom. And today what she does is she gives back quite a bit. She tides and she gives back quite a bit to community. And she has a very near and dear place in her heart for homeless youth, because she was almost there. So she gives a large portion of her income each and every year to homeless youth. Okay, so we had to come up with a branding strategy. We called it Square One Home Loan Program. Welcome to Square One, because people who fall on their face are starting over from square one. But Square One represents so much more for her and her team, because it's all about you start somewhere. It's a spitting image of her own personal story. But what she's going to be doing is going out into the community, creating small business owner interviews with other businesses that give back. And what's going to happen is she's going to build a philanthropic brand that no one will compete against. Even if you have a better rate, you won't compete against her. Why? Because of her why she's doing it. Not what, because of the why she's doing it. And she'll never run out of anything to say.
So let's pause right there, because I think that what ultimately we're talking about is a brand differentiation. Yes. And really, at the end of the day, the question all of us on this call should be asking ourselves is my brand future proof against the online lenders, right? And really what that means is it's either a call center, a robot with AI, or a combination of both. Well, what you just talked about, these different people and their brands, no online lender is going to do that. No online lender. You're not going to see Quicken. Now they're going to spend, a crap ton of money to advertise at the Super Bowl. But when you look at their marketing, they're advertising high consumer, get a cash out refi so you don't have to live next to your, like you don't have to live in the same home, or move so you don't have to live next to the cat lady. That's not a brand. Like, that's not a brand, right? It's not memorable. Yeah, you see Quicken, you see Rocket Mortgage. They're paying a ton of money. It's like they're hitting you in the head with a Rocket Mortgage baseball bat all day, every day. And yeah, you're going to end up going to rocket.com because of that. And again, not right, not wrong. That's their strategy. We don't have $1 billion. So what we have to do is hit people with our unique brand that they go, I like that. That's philanthropic. I like that Shane was a fireman. I like that he's a dad and he's got his baby on his caricature. Like, it makes you different.
You have to connect. You're exactly right. So what's happening in the lending is no different than what's happening in real estate. You got big tech. And here's the difference, folks. Like, everyone always like, oh, all these interrupters are going to go out of business. If anyone was around in 2007 and 2008, there was a ton of interrupters right at that peak of the market. Then the market crashed and they went all out of business. The difference between now and then is that real estate was never an asset class before, and it was not backed by billions of dollars of capital. And that's the difference right now. So this change is not going away. The only way, because they will outspend us every day. And in marketing, there's a good term that is the one who can spend the most to acquire the customer is always the one who wins. And that's traditionally correct. However, the only place that I believe, whether you're in real estate or in mortgage, that you'll ever compete back against any of these is the personal relationship you already have with your existing network, family, friends, because 10 to 15% of people use the first or are moving each and every year. 100% of people have a referral for you, and nearly 80% will work with the first person they meet with. When you become the first person they think of when they think of real estate and or mortgage, you increase the chances of meeting with them first, but you have to consistently communicate with them because we are being outspent by big tech, ad dollars. What we need to do is start connecting emotionally and personally, because the whole professional thing is way out the fucking window.
Yep, you dropped the mic right there. One of the things at Formula One, I had a chance to spend 3 days with a producer from Hollywood who basically he is a brand creator that works with Nike, WNBA, and it's all about it's almost kind of like we used to call it the guerrilla marketing, where you kind of indirectly market to them through social media. And now it's actually not guerrilla marketing. That's the most impactful marketing. TV marketing, like your traditional marketing, actually is taking a back seat to social media. And so what he was talking to me about is all of the influencing they're doing, the behind the scenes footage they're doing, the raw footage, the like black and white almost type of where it's like, hey, this is how we do what we do every day to get you to where you want to be. It's like for LeBron, it might be working out. So then it's him like behind the scenes getting in his SUV at 4 a.m. going to the gym. Well, at the end of the day, what are we selling? LeBron's Nike shoes, right? Yeah. What does the video have to do with the Nike shoe? Very little. You're seeing LeBron's life.
Authenticity.
You're seeing his personality come out. That's his brand. And it's no different for us. So that was an eye-opener for me. And it was a reminder for me that having our organic self, our marketing, being unique, that's going to be the differentiator. It already is, and it will continue to be.
Well said. So let's chat about that, because look at the way our television viewing habits have changed over the last 10 to 15 years. Do you remember, like, before, what did we used to watch before reality TV became a thing, dude? I don't even remember. Like, I've been watching, like, I remember in college.
The news? Like, I don't know.
One of my friends was on the Real World in college. Like, one of my fraternity brothers on the San Diego Real World show. And I remember, God, this is 20 years ago. That's about the time reality TV took over. But before, we used to watch like Family Ties, Full House, all these scripted type Cosby show, whatever the hell that was called, all these scripted type of shows. But today, those scripted type of shows have lost to reality television.
Yeah.
Why? Because people want real and they want authentic. So if when we're talking about creating content or video, if you do something, there's a difference between having scripted stuff and then having some stuff that's more authentic. But perfection doesn't exist. And that's the number one reason why people don't start getting on video in the first place. They're always like so self-conscious about what they think about. And honestly, guys, if you farted on video, you'll do more business off your fart video than you would off your interest rate video. I will promise you that. Because that'll generate a lot more attention. Now, the question is, do you have the balls to fart on video?
I mean, I'm probably not doing that as my brand, but I mean, to your point, this weekend,
the farting mortgage broker.
Yeah, that may not be the brand we want to promote, but it's so funny.
Taglines, toot toot.
So this weekend we're at Formula One, and you had to take a COVID test before you could go into to Formula One. So we all took these like at-home COVID tests. Well, we thought, let's record this. Like this is gold, right?
It was hilarious. I saw it.
It was hilarious, and like one of the guys, like she, shoved the little swab way too far up his nose. We're all laughing, and like I had more people comment on that than on anything else we did. And the reality is, now what do I do with that? I like as an individual in lending, I want to take the online offline. I want to see the people that are engaging and laughing, and because at the end of the day, we all want to work with people that we're either like or that we enjoy. Like it's your friendships, right? Yep. If I worked with 50 real estate agents and everyone I considered a friend, life would be easy, right? Like we talk about, oh man, agents are so hard to deal with, but if they were all your friends, it wouldn't be that hard to deal with. Yep. Well, when you see people engaging with you online and laughing at your fart videos or your COVID swab videos or whatever the case may be, they're telling you, I like who you are. So then you take the online offline and you say, hey, listen, and we're not saying this, but this is what we're saying. You like what I'm doing. You like who I'm projecting myself as. If you like the fact that I'm raw, authentic, and real, then we should probably grab coffee because this is how I run my business. Now, you still have to be good at closing loans and all that other stuff. But as you mentioned earlier, that stuff is the norm. That's the expected average. If you go to an oil change station, they don't run out and say, I've got great news for you, Mike. I'm going to change your oil today. Well, you're like, well, of course, that's why I'm here. Like, I expect you to change my oil. We do that in lending. We've got to be different. So, let's rehash a few things here, Mike. So first and foremost, like be your authentic self, be willing to put yourself out there, be on social media. Don't be a brand that you think people want to resonate with. Have your brand be who you are. And sit down and strategically work through that. Now, you can do that in a couple ways with us. Obviously, Mike is a branding coach. Next Level has a ton of trainings on this. In fact, Mike's one of our coaches. So for our private members, you can schedule time with Mike to go through this. You can schedule time with any of the coaches to go through these types of strategies. I think also we talked about these big online behemoths. We're not going to beat them doing traditional marketing. And quite frankly, they're not going to win doing traditional marketing. They're going social, right? So it's really important to go, like, Ken Travis always says, fish where the fish are. Fish are on social media. They're on Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube. They're everywhere. They're on Spotify, right? They're everywhere. They're on Amazon Alexa. So you need to go where your audience is. And where your audience is, if you want to grow your business, you do more actions that matter, ATMs, in those areas. So we're coming up on the end here, Mike. For somebody who says, you know what, you guys, like you slap me across the face with a reality check. I need to be branding. I fought it for years. Been there, done that, guys. I have too. I didn't put my picture on my business card until like 2 years ago. Now I'm not even doing business cards because that's what the competition would do. I understand where you're coming from. I hated social media. I didn't want to have to put myself out there. It's not anybody's business what I do with my life. You tell yourself all the stories that everybody says. Well, I'm this, I'm Republican, or I'm Democrat, and I don't want people to. None of it matters, right? You need to be relevant. You need to be funny. You need to be authentic. And if you're not funny, don't try to be funny. Just be authentic. If you're really serious, just be yourself. Be yourself and get out there on social media. But Mike, for those who are saying, you know what, you hit me with some reality. I don't know where to begin. For somebody who doesn't have a ton of money or doesn't even know if they want to invest, like what would be a couple of things you would say, hey, start right now? Like fall forward and do these, maybe 2 or 3 activities or exercises to just start the idea, the conversation around brand, around, non-traditional marketing, non-traditional advertising. Where would you begin?
100%. You have to differentiate advertising versus marketing before you do anything. And before, we didn't have such a need for marketing as we do today, because marketing is more relationship based. Advertising is going to be more lead generation based. So you first have to switch your mindset. Stop fighting for leads and start fighting for attention. This is a giant popularity contest. When I was in high school, I used to have all the parties. The reason why I had all the parties was because I wanted to hook up with all the girls. And the more parties I had, the more girls I attracted. The truth is that you have to become that party animal amongst your database and your friends and family, because that's where most of your business is going to originate from. It's not going to originate from strangers. So stop chasing a bunch of people you don't know and start focusing on the relationships you already have, because each one of them has a referral for you over the next 12 months. And then 10 to 15% of them don't. So for those of you who don't have a lot of money, very simple, become more active on social. You don't need a lot of money to build a brand. You just need to set up consistent ways to communicate with them. That means you're going to have to start getting active on social. If you don't know how to do social, then you go to Shane's bootcamp. But you're going to have to do this, because if you're not marketing your network, I could promise you someone else is. And it's more than just the big tech that we're talking about. It's another local mortgage broker, because every single person knows an agent or a mortgage broker, and they will cheat on you. No differently than you would cheat on your wife if you stop talking to her. You have to remain in communication with the people responsible for your business. There's several ways to do that. But it's all mindset first. Start fighting for attention, stop fighting for leads. And the only way that happens is through consistent communication. So when you're dialing back your brand, you could average your last 10 clients. You're going to see that they all have similarities. Shane's last 10 clients were all blue collar people. I almost promise you that. My last 10 clients were all dudes and dudettes. I can promise you that. It's because we attract like people. So quit trying to be someone you're not. Embrace whom you are. Embrace what God made. You're one and only. Love that. Appreciate it. And freaking start screaming it from the damn rooftops. That's it. This isn't rocket science. This is,
I think,
go out there, get help, and communicate, period.
I love what you said. And I want to finish with this. Focus on marketing, not advertising, right? I think that's huge, because marketing, I mean, really at the end of the day, our goal is to get more people who want to use us for our service. Like, that's the goal, right? Everybody says, I want to impact lives. Listen, if this was a free 501c3 industry, there would be a lot less of us. Like, our job is to generate revenue, attracting as many of the right type of people as we can with the least amount of effort, with the lowest cost of acquisition, simply put. And marketing can help you do that. And to Mike's point, you can start for free using social media. And what I would say is pick the platform that you know, that you're comfortable with, and that you know your audience is hanging out on. Like, I wouldn't go to LinkedIn unless you understand LinkedIn. Very different audience on LinkedIn than Instagram. I wouldn't go to Instagram. People ask me all the time, hey, Shane, when are you going to teach a class on Instagram? I'm like, I don't know. Like, my clients are still on Facebook, and I'm still getting more fish out of that pond. So I'm not going to try to be the jack of all trades, master of none. I'm going to fish in the pond that I know the best, that have the most fish that are attracted to my bait. And I think if you do that, you're going to win. Now, I'm going to leave you all with this. There's a really powerful tool that we created, because, again, Next Level is just a bunch of guys and gals just like you. We're not coaches that aren't in the trenches, that haven't done this in years. We're still actively originating. I had a call with an agent this morning talking about if we could work together and how that would look, and lead spend and what they typically ask. So we get what you're going through. Joining Next Level is one of the easiest decisions you can make because of how we set this up. For the price of one loan per year, you will cover your membership. One of the things we just launched inside of Next Level, and this is a shameless plug, but it's one that we know works, is what we call Power 90. And Power 90 is a 90-day playbook and strategy to growing your business. It's very, very simple, gang. The reality is we try to do far too little with too many things. What we are asking you to do and challenging you to do is pick one thing a day. Pick one thing. What's the one thing, that action that matters, that will help you grow your business and has historically helped you grow your business? Maybe on Mondays, that's, recording 5 videos that you're going to post strategically on Facebook over 5 days. Maybe it's getting in the video studio and doing green screen videos. Maybe it's calling agents on a Monday, which I wouldn't recommend. But hey, if you want to be old school, by all means. Whatever works in your market, you do. And you do one thing every day, 30 minutes to an hour, and you track it. Then in Power 90, we have coaching calls, we have strategy sessions, we have tips and tricks and podcasts and other tools to help you stay on course. If that's something you'd like to get to know more about, join Next Level at becomenl.com. You can get information about Next Level, the Top Producer Huddle, how to get involved, signing up for live events. And through that, you can get the Power 90 playbook. So that's a shameless plug. I've been using it. My team's using it. And we've already seen people just in the first 2 weeks that we've launched this, people seeing great results. Mike, I want to leave you with the last thought. Any parting words for the group and anything you want to share about how they can reach out to you?
Yes. Quit focusing on reaching thousands of people and own the 100 to 200 you already know. We all know 250 people, and this business isn't rocket science. Make sure they know, and you'll attract business. To do that, you need to figure out how to do that first. How do you communicate? That's all branding is. So if you guys need any, visit our website, like take the blog. I have so much content on the blog. I have webinars. Like I got so much free education that if you wanted to bootstrap what we do, you can do it right on my website. It's fine. Learn it. Start investing in yourself in education and learning this, because the marketing has changed in this business over the last 5 years, and it's not going back anytime soon. So unfortunately, you have to know how to do this stuff going forward if you ever want to build a brand and long-term business. So if you'd like to visit us, please feel free. Shane, I appreciate you having us here, but our website is realestatemarketingdude.com.
Awesome, guys. Well, listen, we love this community. 2022 is going to be your best year ever if you make today your best day ever, and you do that every day. We'll see you guys on the other side.